Hey guys, welcome to this masterclass on short-term rentals. My name is Lee Morris. I've been a professional photographer and videographer for over 20 years, but for the last 7 years, I've been doing Airbnb, and it's been one of the best financial decisions I've ever made. I started my first Airbnb about 8 years ago. I had hundreds, if not thousands of questions, and I combed through probably hundreds of hours of YouTube content trying to find all of the answers to every one of my questions. My goal for this tutorial is to teach you the absolute most important things as quickly as possible. I wanted to answer every single major question that I had in just 4 hours. How big should your Airbnb be? How many bedrooms is best? How many bathrooms is necessary? Well, in most cases, at least from what I have seen, the smaller the better. This sounds crazy. You're certainly not going to make as much money with a smaller house, but you will make more money on your investment. If you buy a 15-bedroom, $10 million beach house during the summertime, there's a very good chance you're gonna make a ton of money. But during those dry months when you're potentially not making any money at all, you might realize that your return on investment isn't that good. Now, obviously, F-Stoppers is geared towards professional photographers and videographers. Why are you doing this tutorial on short-term rentals? Well, as you can imagine, in the last 20 years, I have befriended many professional photographers, and the majority of them seem to have at least one short-term rental. And I realized this and started asking them, how did you get into this? Why did you get into this? And I think that it has something to do with the artistic element. If you're capable of doing a good job designing your place and then shooting your place, you will be ahead of 95% of the other listings online. The two most important things that go into marketing your Airbnb are gonna be the furniture and the photos. And both of these things work together because you could have amazing furniture and then horrible photos and people are just gonna skip right over your listing. Or you could have the best photos in the world, but if the furniture is ugly, nobody's going to appreciate the photo. You're gonna have to do both of these things perfectly, but once you do, all of the hard work is done and your Airbnb is going to run on autopilot for years without you ever having to touch anything. But we don't want to make a mistake right off the bat. And guys, I'm not going to try to sell you some dream. I'm not just going to say, this is easy and spend as much money as you can, you're going to get rich. I want you to understand all of the numbers and everything that could possibly go wrong so that if this business does go south, you can still afford this house. So now we have a very simple equation. We simply take $79,000, our profit, and we divide it by 100,000, the number that we initially invested into the property, and we come up with a cash-on-cash return of 79%, which is absolutely nuts. Remember, we're comparing this to the hypothetical 10% return we could get in the stock market, so 79% would be amazing. But that, of course, is if everything goes perfectly. Let's look at this exact same house again if things don't go quite so well. In this tutorial, I'm going to try to answer every question you might have about starting a short-term rental, starting with purchasing the actual property and what to look for. How much money can you spend on it? How much will you probably spend updating it? How much can you expect to receive in short-term rentals? And then the big one, how many expenses will you actually have? Okay, $1.1 million sale price, rentals estimate $3,100. Horrific rental rate. So this would be a horrible investment, especially for long-term rentals. We're gonna talk about short-term in just a second, but let's look at one more house here. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who tell me that they're thinking about starting an Airbnb and they say something like, if I could just make $300 per night, I would make so much money, I'll be rich. And I ask them, yeah, but how often will the house be vacant? And they go, what? What do you mean? It's gonna be booked every night. No, it won't. And so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to scope out other similar Airbnbs in your area and figure out how often they're actually getting booked so you can get a much more realistic estimate on how much you're going to make on this potential property.
I consider full occupancy weekends.
Yeah. This is what people don't understand. Yeah. My house in Charleston, because I'm so close to downtown, in the summer, I'll be booked literally every single day for the entire summer. But you'll say you're full and you just mean Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Ski season, it is Check in Friday, leave Sunday.
We're gonna take a broad look at long-term and short-term rentals in general, and then we're gonna take a deep dive into my personal property, and we're gonna go month by month, and I'm gonna show you exactly how much my property is making, and also how much my property is costing me every month. And you can see we come up with 21.2% return on investment. But there's one pretty significant thing that I've left out of all of this, and that is very large repairs to your home. In the last 12 months, I haven't done any of these, but that's because I did a ton the previous year. One of the most important things about designing a short-term rentals listing online is the design of the space. What type of furniture are you going to put in there? What looks good, what looks trendy, and what immediately turns people off? So I'm asking you to be honest with yourself. Compare the furniture in your house and your photos to these photos that I'm showing you right now. Take a look at how cohesive the furniture and decorations are in each of these images. Everything looks like it was picked out with intention. If you're buying a new place and you need to furnish the entire thing, it might be a little upsetting because you have to spend so much money all at once, but you have a massive advantage. Instead of having all this random furniture that doesn't really work together, you can buy everything together and make sure that the entire house flows. You don't have to spend a ton of money. You don't even have to buy new furniture. But if you can buy it with intention, it's going to look so much better. Now, it doesn't matter how incredible your space looks. If your photos look bad, nobody's going to want to stay there. If you're a professional photographer, you have a massive advantage here because you can go all out on your photos. But if you're not a professional photographer, I'm gonna go into what you should be looking for when it comes to hiring a photographer so you can get the absolute best photos. And the only way that they're ever going to notice you or remember you, in many cases, comes down to the thumbnail of your very first photograph. Why would you invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into a property, spend tens of thousands of dollars furnishing this property, and then skimp out at the very last second with something that only cost a few $100s because you want to save a little bit of money when it's the most important thing that's going to come down to your space getting booked or not? The most difficult part of running a short-term rental, without doubt, is keeping it clean. And in this tutorial, I'm gonna go through all of the tips and tricks about not only cleaning the house, keeping it up to date and everything, but also the most difficult part, hiring cleaners and keeping them happy.
We wash every single bed, no matter what. And these are just our standalone rules.
Like beds that have not been slept in?
Yep.
Really?
Sometimes guests make them back. And with that, our housekeepers take pictures of everything. And then as they leave the house, they videotape the entire home. And so when the guest gets there and says, there was no TV remote here. Go, yes, sir. If you look at the video, it's actually sitting on the coffee table at 4:01 when you checked in.
I can remember when I first got into this, I didn't know anything. I didn't know how much to charge. I didn't know what should be on the listing. I didn't know what amenities I needed to buy and have stocked in the house. In this tutorial, we are covering all of that. Next up, crib. This is something I never thought about until I had a kid. Traveling with a crib is impossible, but a lot of parents travel with a pack and play. It's like a collapsible crib. And what I ended up doing after having a child was I just stayed at Airbnbs that had pack and plays already. And again, that is just so much more convenient than having to pay, $80 to check it with an airplane if it's already at the house. And so that is definitely a must. If you have an Airbnb, absolutely get a pack and play. It's not expensive. Throw it in a closet, add it to your list. Now, you might be skeptical whether this tutorial is going to be worth it or not. I am offering a full 7-day money-back guarantee. You can watch the entire thing and decide if it's worth it or not to you. I guarantee what's going to happen. You're either going to watch it and you're going to realize that you're about to overpay for a building, and in that case, I've probably saved you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, or you're going to decide, wow, I think I can do this. You're going to jump right in and you're going to realize that this tutorial answers all of your questions. All right, now it's time to talk about reviews. And you might think that a 4 out of 5 star review for an Airbnb listing, that's great, 4 out of 5 stars. That is not a good thing on Airbnb. You really want as many 5-star reviews as you can get, and you want an average review of over 4.75. The higher review score that your listing has, the more Airbnb will show it to potential guests. But your higher score will also make those potential guests purchase more often. You could imagine you could have the most beautiful listing in the world, but if you add a 2-star review and people go in and read one negative review after another, you're not going to get booked at all. Something everyone new to this industry has to decide is whether they want to manage the property themselves or they want to hire a manager. In this tutorial, we are going to go deep on both of those options. I group managers into 3 different buckets. 1 is just somebody who doesn't manage any other homes, but they're willing to manage your home. 2 would be somebody like my brother and his wife, where they do this professionally, full-time. All they do is manage homes. They manage multiple homes, but they don't have a team of people. You're going to be working with them directly. And then number 3 would be hiring some gigantic management company. Now, there are pros and cons to each one of these types of managers. If you've never done this before, I guarantee there are so many questions that you don't even know you have yet. My goal is to answer them before you even have them. Now let's talk about insurance. 99% of Airbnb hosts that I know just have standard homeowners insurance and they think Airbnb will cover if the guest does something. But I'm telling you, I looked into it. I called one of these people on the phone and they told me, oh yeah, you can pay for homeowners insurance all you want. But if something happens at your house, unrelated to a guest, there's nobody in the house at all, and the house catches on fire, electrical fire or something, and we look up your address online and we see that your house is on Airbnb or we see that it's on VRBO, we're not paying. So much that goes into running a successful short-term rental is automation. You want everything that can be automated to be automated. So we're gonna dive deep into the security systems, the digital locks that you should purchase, all of the automated messages that you can create, and third-party software that you can purchase to make managing these properties so much easier. Now, the other thing that you're going to quickly recognize is that you get the same questions over and over and over again. Every single guest is going to ask if they can check in early. They're going to ask if they can check out late. What you can do here is write all of the answers to frequently asked questions that you get over and over and over again. It makes it very easy for you to just click on them and you can respond with one click. If you're a professional photographer, you definitely need multiple sources of income. You know how difficult this industry can be. Some months you'll make a lot of money, some months you might not make any money at all. And now with AI on the horizon, changing everything, it is more important than ever that we diversify our income. So if you have the ability to start a short-term rental, if it's something that you've been thinking about, it's been in the back of your mind for a while now, maybe now's the time. Now, if you want to filter down this list even further, you can check all these boxes up here. Let's say we just want to look at other 3-bedroom houses that are just like ours and we can apply changes. And now, boom, I am the #1 3-bedroom house within my zip code. I've been doing Airbnb now for 8 years. It's one of the best financial decisions I've ever made. It's not particularly hard, but it definitely can be overwhelming at the beginning. You just have no idea where to begin. This tutorial is gonna make that process seamless for you. We're gonna teach you exactly what to look for in a short-term rental. We're gonna teach you how to renovate it and make it captivating for these guests. We're gonna teach you how to take the best photos so that your listing stands out online. We're gonna teach you how to price it and automate it so that you have people in it every single week and you are making the most amount of money possible. So if you've been thinking about getting into short-term rentals for a while now, but you didn't really know where to begin, this is what you've been waiting for. So the bottom line is, running an Airbnb is never going to be perfect. It's never going to be easy all the time. But overall, putting my house on Airbnb has been one of the best financial decisions I've ever made. And I hope you are able to be just as successful as I have been. Thanks for watching, guys.